We are wrapping up term 2 of our first formal year of educating using the Charlotte Mason method. Though we've spent our preschool years using the Charlotte Mason method, stepping into the formal education sphere back in August felt daunting, and honestly, I was nervous about it all. It felt like there were piles and piles of books before me, but honestly, it has been so wonder-filled and such a natural way to educate my children. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Neves, and today I'm going to talk about how our first year of using a Charlotte Mason method has been going for us, as well as going over the 2 curriculums that we have been focusing on, which is Ambleside Online and the Alveary. So now we have been in our first year of formally educating my 6-year-old daughter using the Charlotte Mason method. We've done the kindergarten year and the preschool year, which here in Canada is junior kindergarten for preschool and senior kindergarten. So this is our 3rd year home educating. And I wanted to talk about how this year has been going so far. How do we like our curriculum? How do we find using a Charlotte Mason method? And how do I find it as a mother teacher as well? So I have I have my planner here and I have my schedule here so I don't miss anything. So I'll go through that with you. I recently made a video about using the Alveary as well as Ambleside Online for our main curriculum. And that has been going really well. The Alveary has helped me in terms of providing me with complete lesson plans. It's something that I was concerned about. Am I going to know how to implement the Charlotte Mason method in the right way? And they've really relieved a lot of that anxiety for me. And even on the website, they have a lot of resources in terms of how do you teach certain subjects. All right, so I have my big binder here and I'm gonna go subject by subject. So as I've mentioned, I have a preschooler and then I have a year 1 student. I'm mainly gonna be focusing on the year 1 student. My preschooler has been along for the ride. She's 4 years old. She's not ready yet to learn how to read, to learn how to write. So we're doing lots of playing and she does morning time with us. So she is exposed on a daily basis to truth, goodness, and beauty through poetry, through fables, through fairy tales. For our Bible curriculum, we've been using Hurlbut's story of the Bible, and it's a retelling of the Bible and of the stories in the Bible, and it has been working really well. My daughter is able to narrate, she understands it, we have discussions. So that's what we have been doing. But then during December, I took a 1-month-long break to do Advent and Christmas school. And during that time, we read through the book of Luke instead. And then we're also reading our church history fictions. And for our church history, we just finished reading Traitor in the Tower a couple of weeks ago, which was about the life of John Bunyan in prison and how he came up with Pilgrim's Progress and certain stories from Pilgrim's Progress as well. Now we are about to start a Chimney Sweep's Ransom. So every morning we start with Bible study. This is something I do as the kids eat breakfast and as my baby crawls around the living room floor, I just follow him and I read out loud to them, and then I ask my 6-year-old to narrate back to me. So for poetry, the first term we've been reading through the Random House book of poetry for children, and that has been a nice collection of poems for us. And then this term we are reading through Now We Are 6, and it's my first time reading through Now We Are 6, and it's such delightful, sweet, silly poems. We really like them. I feel like it captures this era of childhood so well, and I'm glad that we've added that to our list. Normally we open up our morning basket with poetry time, and both my daughters have really been enjoying taking the time to read poems together. Recitation, we've been using the Alveary's recitation recommendations. My daughter is memorizing really well, and even my 4-year-old joins us in the memorization. So what we've done so far is each term we have memorized, and I feel like I'm trying to remember what we've done. So each term we've memorized a passage from the Old Testament, a passage from the New Testament, a psalm, a poem, a hymn, as well as a folk song. And there's 2 hymns and 2 folk songs per term. I think that's what we've done so far, but part of the memory work we've done includes a Japanese folk song, so that has been neat. And then this term we have French. French is actually, well, it's my second language, but English is my third language. So I was educated in French. I grew up in Quebec, which is French, and so that's second nature for me. But I have failed my children at exposing them to the language fully, but still they're much more exposed to French where we are than they are to Japanese. So the Japanese folk song was pretty neat to memorize. And I have to say, every time I open our recitation work and I see, for example, we have many verses of a chapter to memorize from the Bible. In the beginning of the first 6 weeks of a term, I'm like, how are we going to do this? And then somehow my daughter just knows it. Music, we're doing through the Alveary, we do the hymn and we do the folk song. And then I select certain composers that I just play in my home and I let them listen to that. But the Alveary has a rich music curriculum. We use it sometimes, but not on a weekly basis because it's a lot. I just don't have the time to go through all the music lessons that they recommend in a week. So I've narrowed it down to hymn and folk song. And then when we have a chance to do some more of the fun stuff, we do it. And otherwise we just listen to classical music. Picture study, we just recently started doing it in the second term because my daughter was taking art lessons, which she loved doing. She's getting so good at drawing and at art, and it's something that she's very passionate about. So far, I'm just doing the picture study, and this term we're studying Rachel Roche, and we're going through her beautiful flowery artwork, and my daughters have really enjoyed looking at it and discussing it. And picture study is not something new for us. We've done it through the kindergarten years, so they're very familiar with the rhythm of it, and we do it once a week. It's been good. Geography has been a favorite one for us. We've really enjoyed reading through Charlotte Mason's elementary geography. I think that she wrote that book in such a beautiful manner. It's so delightful to read. It's an easy read compared to what you would expect from Charlotte Mason, and it's easy for the children to understand. And it does so well at keeping God at the front and center of the creation of our wonderful world, and how all these things that we are discussing are things to God, and even includes certain poems in the beginning of or at the end of certain lessons. And it's just been such a nice curriculum for us to use. And we've also been doing a lot of mapping work through the Alveary curriculum. Science, we have been doing natural study through what the Alveary recommends. Well, some of the books. We use the Burgess Bird book, and we use it as a way to learn about birds. We use it for our nature journaling, and then my daughter does the narration, and it's just, again, very engaging having Peter Rabbit be part of it, and then Jenny Wren, and then all these different birds and the story behind them being introduced. It's a really beautiful way for children to learn about the different habitats and the way that the birds build their nests and what they eat and what their patterns are, how do they migrate, and who their friends or enemies are, and who the cousins in the bird families are. And it's told through a story. So it's a very sweet book. And then this term we also started using the Christian Liberty Nature Reader book. And the reason why I only started using the science curriculum this term is because I was running a co-op until very recently. We unfortunately had to call it quits in our third year because I just didn't have the time and the energy to pour into it, and it just did not feel the way that it felt to me in the very beginning when I started it. And I think there's a time and place for so many things. We've built so many beautiful friendships and connections, and that's invaluable, but there's a time for things to start and a time for things to end, and it was just the time for the co-op that we were running to end. So I needed to supplement, or actually replace, that time, which was nature study time, with a curriculum, and so I started using the Alveary for that reason. And then another curriculum that I have had for the kindergarten years was the Treehouse Schoolhouse Nature Study. I have the whole 4-season curriculum, and every now and then I bring that back out. I bring certain weeks out for that. For example, the snow week and the hibernation week. And my daughters really enjoy that. They enjoy the experiments that are suggested and the books that we read. And it's just a nice way to integrate the science and the nature study as part of our Alveary curriculum. We do history as well, and history we do through Ambleside Online. So my husband is the one who teaches history because that's his thing. He's a historian, so he's the one teaching my daughter history. That's something that they do together. Every now and then I'm part of it, and I listen to it, but most of the time I attend to my other 2 children. And she actually said that that's her favorite subject. I don't know if it's because daddy's teaching it or if it's because she's genuinely enjoying the stories, because they're going through the 50 famous stories retold, and then they're also going through an island story. And something else we do as part of our history curriculum, and we do not do this on a weekly basis at all, is we go through a pioneer story, which is about a pioneer family living in Canada. And it's told through, again, storytelling. So that's been a fun read. And I do that normally as part of our morning basket on a rotational basis. In terms of our morning basket, I've already mentioned poetry. I've mentioned we do recitation in our morning basket as well. We do our picture study there. What else do? We do music in our morning basket. And then we also do our literature. So for literature, we do Aesop's Fables. We've been reading through them since kindergarten, or since preschool, I should say. And so this is probably our 2nd time reading through all of these fables. We do 2 fables a week. And we also read through Parables of Nature, which is probably my trickiest read for some reason. I find myself struggling with the sentence structure. And my daughter seems to enjoy it though. She narrates it really well. She's getting really good at narration this year. And we talk about what the moral of the story is. What is it trying to teach us? And it's been a good one. We don't do it. For example, in this term, there's only 2 stories that we are reading. We read one of them, and then we're reading a second one. So it's part of our morning basket rotation, and so is Just So Stories. Just So Stories, again, it's one of those reads that is a little bit trickier, but it's so fun, and it's funny, and it's silly, and both girls really like it. Then we also read through our fairy tales. We read through The Blue Fairy. Again, these are all very much rotational reads. I have The Spirit of Canada, which is a book it's a compilation of stories and legends and poems and songs from Canada. What else do we do as part of our morning basket? Oh, the geography book that's recommended for Ambleside Online, I have it in our morning basket. So it's Paddle to Sea. And it's funny because I pulled out that book and I thought it was fun. Like that we were reading about this little canoe that was built by a boy that was sailing around Lake Superior and getting into all kinds of trouble. And I went to film us just reading it because I wanted to make some B-roll for my YouTube channel. And I caught my daughter go, "Oh gosh, I hate this book." So that made me laugh. Maybe I'll insert that here. So all that to be said, not every book is going to be a hit, and that's okay. But we are still going to read it because I like to finish what we start. I don't like to give things up. A lot of times, sometimes things can be tedious or they can seem boring, but then once we finish it in its entirety, we see it for what it is. And I feel like my daughter is getting more and more experiences like that where she realizes, okay, sometimes things feel like maybe it's hard work or maybe it's not exactly what I want to be doing. I would rather be reading something else. Once you finish reading it, the story almost takes a whole new form. And I hear my baby's awake, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up. The language arts curriculum has been really good. That's one of the main pluses for me from the Alveary It's a lot of phonics work. It's a lot of introducing the child in reading. My daughter knows how to read, but I feel like the curriculum we use, which was teach your child to read in 100 easy lessons, it does skip a lot of the phonics part of it, and the Alveary really takes the time to go through that for us. And so I feel like as she's getting better and better at reading, she's understanding more why certain sounds are pronounced a certain way and why certain words are written a certain way. So it marries the whole reading and writing really well. The copy work is going really well. I started using the Getty Debate, but then we switched to using just a notebook, and it's been going really well. First we worked on our letter formation, but now she's moved on to copy work where she's copying sentences, or even dictation work certain times when for certain words. Let's say we are studying the sound ing, so how would you write going? And she's well able to do it. Her letter formation has been really nice, I find, for a first grader. I think sometimes it looks better than when I write, when I print. We are working on the print, and then next year I think we're going to be working on cursive. She's really eager to start learning how to write in cursive, and we'll get there. I just really want her to get a beautiful print writing, and then we'll move on to the cursive. For our math curriculum, we do Mammoth Math, and that has been going really well. We have the 2 books, we alternate between the 2. Most of the time, my daughter's able to do the work independently. Every now and then, in the beginning of a lesson, I come in and I instruct her, or I help her out. Or for example, we've been learning about reading the time on the clock, so that has heavily involved me sitting with her, and I've had to practice my own patience. This whole journey of home educating your children is so sanctifying, I will tell you. There's like so many opportunities to lose your cool, and so many opportunities to feel proud of yourself because you are keeping your patience. Because I'm not a naturally patient person, just so you know. And you don't need to be a naturally patient person to homeschool either. God will be there and he will stay by you, I promise. And that's what this first year has been teaching me so much. We've been doing our read alouds. Right now we are reading Little House in the Big Woods. We started that, excuse me, we started that last year and we never finished it. And I hate leaving things unfinished. So we started it again from the beginning, and we are now halfway through. During Christmas, we read The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. That was so fun. What a fun book. And then we watched the movie. We've read Charlotte's Web. We've read, what's the Roald Dahl one? Not The Big Fat Giant. James and the Big Peach. James and the Giant Peach? You know. We've read Stuart Little, and I forget what else we've read, but we've read Winnie the Pooh. And then for the rest of the term, I have some fun reads as well for us. The girls seem really to enjoy E.B. White, both of them. So I have Trumpet of the Swan on there for them for a few weeks from now. Actually, once we finish Little House in the Big Woods, I have one more book, and then Trumpet of the Swan. Something else the girls enjoy this year is both of them get to go to forest schools. So that's a lot of their time spent in nature. Today is a very cold day. It's minus 20 degrees Celsius, and they're out there in the forest, probably around a fire for now, and enjoying themselves with friends and having some time apart from me. And that time allows me to sit here and just be able to talk to you. And then what else have we been doing? Christmas has been such a nice period. And then we did some more Advent studies and read lots of picture books, and it was just so fun to take that break from the schoolwork and from our regular readings. My daughter's been reading really well. She's actually started reading Charlotte's Web herself during bedtime. We don't have all the time that we used to have before we had a little baby in our life to just sit around and read. So sometimes after quiet time, I bring them down before baby brother wakes up, and then I snuggle them on the couch and we just read together. And that's the time we take to read more of our seasonal books or to do our read aloud. And it's just been a really lovely time getting to spend this time with them and continuing to read. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. We've been reading through Shakespeare. We've done, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 so far. It's a retelling of Shakespeare's plays, so it's much simpler to understand than Shakespeare itself, but it's still Shakespeare, right? So it can be tricky to understand everything that's going on. Like there's this character that's in love with this character, and then that character found this character and fell asleep. Anyway. Okay, so now my baby's awake, my camera's full, so I'm gonna say goodbye to you, but that has been our first year of using the Charlotte Mason method for formal education, and we've been loving it. It has been very natural for me to teach it. Having the beautiful living books are obviously a must for it, but it has been just such an easy method for me to implement, much easier than what I thought it was going to be. And we're definitely going to be going along with it for the rest of our forms and years to come. So thank you again for being here, and I hope you're having a great year. I hope that homeschooling is going really well, and if you're just getting started, welcome and enjoy.